a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is Mitu.
And my name is BJ.
And this week we're watching Bet on Netflix.
So stay tuned to find out Mitu's favorite card game.
Okay, yeah, let's both find out together with our listeners.
And before we find out, how about you tell us what happened at this prep school?
Loosely based on the Japanese manga Kakegurui, we follow Yumeko, played by Miku Martineau, a transfer student from Japan who disrupts a boarding school's power structure with her gambling skills, challenging the student council while pursuing revenge.
So Mitu, you just described an exciting premise.
Yeah.
We got the new student, we got gambling, we got risk-taking, really great artwork. If you guys look up the art for the Netflix ads, did it live up to that exciting premise?
I was excited to see that this was a recommendation and that
a lot of past tense.
we could check out this cool looking show. However, I think that the premise maybe set my expectations a little too high, like prep school, gambling, young woman bent on revenge, not caring what's getting in her way. That to me seems like a thrilling YA story, and this one was a little bit more cartoonish. So I wouldn't say it's like good or bad. It just absolutely was not what I expected. And then I looked it up because I was curious, like, if the concept is very childish or cartoonish, and so that could explain this gap in expectation. But from the reviews I saw, Manga Hive isn't happy.
So not the best adaptation. And I agree, it's a really cool premise. I think they have a lot to work with, and it suggests something darker than what it is. Even though story-wise, I think a lot of dark things happen with people putting a lot on the line financially, with their lives, with their agency. But then you have this cool live action anime setting that doesn't feel that fitting in live action.
Yes. And it's clear that they went for a broader audience, or at least it seems to me like they went for a broader audience than whatever the dedicated Hive is, which is why it is very clearly stated that it is loosely based on this manga. But the gambling, to your point, does have really high stakes. It has very YA stakes, and frankly beyond, because there are children that enslave each other as a result of the end of their matches.
And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars just being exchanged back and forth.
Yes.
And I thought the idea that Yumeko is this prodigy gambler was really cool because she's all about playing fair. She wants to take that chance, leave it up to the roll of a die or just the draw of the card. But I don't think they emphasize that skill enough.
I agree. I think they could have taken it either way, meaning this is ultimately a revenge story. So show us what that revenge plot looks like, what the scheming looks like. Maybe we could have even gone a little bit beyond the first scene where we see that she set some things in motion to get transferred to this prep school to start doing the revenge. But they handle that truly within like the first 40 seconds of the pilot. So I didn't quite understand what was happening. And I didn't understand the why behind it. Or have us really understand the background. So give us like really great look into your skills, into this gambling, into this revenge building, or give a little bit more in these flashbacks. We see her playing cards with someone who's very important to her in the flashbacks. And it would have been nice to understand a little bit more of the why there, of why gambling is so important to that crucial relationship.
Right. They have all of the pieces that they would need for a solid story. The flashbacks to her childhood, this mysterious prep school of all of these children of important people and world leaders. The gambling scenes themselves, Yumeko being skilled, she makes some friends, she meets all the like mean kids, the scary student council. And as I'm describing this, you even mentioned a quick flashback to her previous school of how she got sent to this new prep school.
Yeah.
We don't sit in any of those topics long enough to really understand them.
That's exactly it. We're not sitting enough in any of these things. We're not diving deep into the gambling or the revenge or the backstory or even the dynamics of the school, because even the way that they introduce these kids is very cartoony.
Yes, especially the student council. I'm guessing that's where this loose adaptation is maybe a little more faithful with
Yeah.
how they brought those characters to life, but then they look out of place.
Yes, there's a scene where her new friend Ryan, played by Ayo Solanke, loses a card game to someone, and the reaction in the room to that was fully out of a cartoon. But the stakes of that game were so intense that it just felt like such a clash to me, and not in necessarily an interesting way, but rather in a way that kind of took me out of it.
I agree. And there's another gambling scene because I guess in this show, the case of the week is going to be gambling games. And
Sure.
a pretty serious one with serious outcomes happens, but I feel like it went by too quickly.
Yes, very blink and you miss it.
It's like, okay, let's start. Okay, it's over. Okay, everyone shocked.
The other cartoonish thing is even how our lead spoke. And I don't think this is on the actor. This was, to me, very clearly a choice by the show, be it how it's directed, or maybe this is a reference to how people believe the manga character or related character behaves.
Mm-hmm.
She does this like whisper talking that also is sometimes, at least for me, and maybe because I'm out of the age of the YA community, it was a little hard to hear sometimes.
You can be a YA fan at any age, me too.
That's true. I just needed to turn my TV up because it was a lot of her whispering and being like, I'll get ya. I'll get all of you. But we don't know why or how.
Yeah,
Or even what sometimes.
a lot of these thoughts out loud. And like you said, maybe that's from the manga. I think in this Netflix version, just have her do a voiceover and that's her inner monologue. We'd
Yeah.
get the same message.
Kind of like Murderbot.
Yes, let's get in her head, especially since she's a prodigy. And at one point, she explains how she won a game. And I wanted more of that. Like, what skills has she honed over the years?
She did that a couple times in this episode. But to your point, it was like very quick scenes. We had one scene at the beginning, couple scenes in this episode where she very quickly was like, you flinched, you did this. Like, classic, like you see this a lot in crime shows, the person who notices all the inconsistencies in the room and names them. But we didn't get to sit with that for long. It was truly, again, blink and you miss it.
Overall, though, do you like our lead character, or were any of the side characters standouts to you?
Well, shout out to Ryan. I liked Ryan as the friend, though I want better for the character, and I hope I get to see better in Ryan. I am rooting for our lead character because it is clear that this revenge is very important to her.
Mm-hmm.
It is all she's thinking about. That's at least my perception of the character. I wish I understood a little bit more. But I want this revenge for her, why it is at this prep school and why these kids or this environment, I'm not sure. But it matters.
Yes, they successfully show and tell what's important to Yumeko, but they don't go in depth of why it's so important. But I do care about her character's goal, and I
Yeah.
think she's the most likable student that we've met so far.
I agree with that completely.
And I do want to see more of her interactions. She seems to have a friend in Ryan already. There's another character, Michael, played by Hunter Cardinal, who seems like he'll be on her side. And I want to see more of her interactions with her roommate Blake, played by Emma L. Patterson, because they don't seem to get along, but Yumiko also doesn't really care.
No, I thought that was very funny. I thought their interactions were genuinely funny. Like, I laughed at, there's a full circle moment between the two of them that cracked me up.
So with these funny moments, cool concepts, characters you care about, will you watch more episodes of Bet on Netflix?
I think if you're not YA Hive or even really children's show Hive, this one is not for you. If you are YA Hive, if you are children's show Hive, you like a show about a kid exacting revenge or on some mission or plot in a fancy school environment, which is, understandably a very popular genre, which I am of that hive, I recommend this one. But specifically, I would say watching while distracted in some way. I know, BJ, you and I often say, like, would watch while folding laundry, would watch while, like, having lunch or cooking. Like, I think this is definitely one of those. I don't think it needs your full attention. It was very, very easy to follow.
I agree. I will still rate it would watch casually. And like you said, the caveat, this is an easy watch. It's simple. It's a fun world. I like the gambling aspect, how they play that up. But you don't need to focus too much on it. And it doesn't get that serious or complicated, at least in the pilot. So just enjoy the ride, maybe while you're doing something else as well.
What was the question?
What is your favorite card game?
Blackjack.
Really?
Yes. When I was a kid, my mom and I would play 21 a lot. And as I understand it now, that's essentially blackjack. And even when you and I went to Vegas,
yeah,
and I bet $5 on a blackjack game, I won.
We did play. I think I lost.
Sorry to hear it.
Well, once we got priced out of the, like, what was it, $50 minimum tables, I wasn't too concerned about losing the $5.
Y'all, BJ and I each withdrew $20 for what we were willing to bet.
Hey,
total.
That's our pro tip. If you are going to go gambling just to have fun,
yes,
set a budget before you go.
It's true. People do a lot of betting now, sports betting, all this stuff. Y'all, just, if this is how you have fun, go for it. Me personally, I didn't find it particularly fun to part with my money. But if that's your thing, let's try boundaries around these things.
Yeah. Just have, this is my life expenses money.
Yes.
This is my gambling money. And they will never get mixed up.
And if you're BJ and me, that's $20. That's $20. You go to the ATM, you get it out. You do pay a fee. Those ATMs in Vegas are expensive. And then you go from there. Yeah, the house always wins.
$20 that one time. We're doing well.
And then we bet that second time in Maryland. And remember, I bet $20 and I came out of that casino with $42. Exactly. You're talking to a wealthy woman.
And then we went into the year 2020.
Yeah, that's true.
You peaked way too soon. You peaked at midnight.
The house always wins.
They got you. They say you'll walk away with that money, but you won't be happy in the end.
I distinctly remember you and I talking about how it would be the best year ever because of how much money I won.
And we had a great dinner. That was a good New Year's Eve into New Year's.
Yeah, December 31st, 2019 into January 1st, 2020. No notes. Absolutely lovely.
But not a sign of what was to come.
No, not remotely.
Okay, well, if you want to hear us talk about TV shows, head to our website, thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on social media at thepilotpod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week, just like this one, we do show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Ooh, and send us your favorite card games. Thanks for listening.
Bye.